Hey guys, what's up? It's Maisie with Barbecue by Maisie. If you're new here, thank you so much for checking out my channel. And if you are coming back, I truly appreciate the support. Please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that bell so you're notified of all future videos. This is something I just like to do in my free time, so I appreciate all the feedback and support that I have been getting since I started making videos. I have been craving ribs for like a month now. I keep telling my husband I'm going to smoke them, but honestly, I'm being a big baby and it's just so cold in Utah that I really haven't wanted to do a long cook outside. So today I have decided I am going to do these ribs hot and fast, and I wanted to show you guys how I do it. This method comes in handy if you just don't have all day to smoke your ribs, or if you're like me and you're just kind of being a baby and don't want to be outside in the cold. If you've never tried it before, give it a try and compare it to the traditional way and see what you think. It's a super simple process, and in the end, you're gonna have delicious ribs to eat. All right, so let's stop talking and let's get to prepping these ribs so we can get them on the smoker. The very first thing you want to do with your ribs is take off the membrane. So the membrane is on the back of your ribs and it's going right here along your bones. Okay, I want to interrupt and just talk about the membrane real quick. Now, when I first was learning how to smoke and I really wanted to do ribs, it was my first time, I was so intimidated by pulling the stupid membrane off these ribs. That first time I did it, I really struggled to get it taken off. It was probably like a 20-minute process of me trying to figure out where it was, what it was, and how to get it off, but I did get it off. If you can't get that membrane off in one pull, it does not mean you're bad at barbecue. It does not mean you're a terrible human. Just make sure you get it taken off in some way, whether you use a paper towel, a knife, or if you're just cold-blooded fingers, just make sure you get it off. It's not a big deal how you do it. So back to the membrane. I would suggest going to the edge down here, and you can kind of feel it. You should be able to see it. Some butchers are going to remove it for you. My experience is if you get your ribs at a grocery store, that it is not going to be removed, which is where these came from. And I can just clearly see that it's on. So I am going to do it using a knife. You can also just run your finger along the bone and pry it up, but I'm just going to show you how to do it using a knife. See how you can get your knife under there and lift it and just kind of pry it away. Now you can also, like I said, just go all in with your hands, or I have a paper towel here. The paper towel is just going to help you grip it. So I want to make sure I get this end down here. I'm just going to kind of pull it away. So can you see it there? That is the membrane. Now if you want, you can get a paper towel here and you're just going to pull up and away from the ribs. See, I'm not doing great right here. It's kind of, the top's not coming off. But you get the idea. I'm gonna go back and get that other piece. Do you see how it wasn't a perfect pull? There's still some membrane right there. So I'm just gonna go back and pick that off. I hope you don't think less of me as a human being. Okay, now that you have your membrane off, we're going to do some trimming. You can see right here on this side, and I'm just using a boning knife. You can use whatever you have, but I want to cut off this excess piece here. And then on the front, I'm gonna trim off just a little of this fat, but there really isn't that much. So I'm going to start trimming. My hands are gonna freeze off. So that is all of the trimming I am going to do on those ribs. There really wasn't much to do. All right, I'm just going to start here on the back side. And do a little mustard on the back. Just kind of rub that around. Make sure you get the whole surface of the rack of ribs here. I'm using my Bear Smoke rub. You can use any rub you like, or you can just make one at home. I've done both ways, and both ways are good. The best kind of ribs are the ones that you like. Just get a nice layer of seasoning down on there. Okay, we're gonna flip them over and do the exact same thing. Get our mustard. Remember, you're not going to be able to taste the mustard when you eat the ribs. Our seasoning. To really give these ribs a nice color too, I'm excited. All right, so there are our prepped ribs. So at this point in the process, your smoker should be heating up to 300 degrees. I like to have my ribs prepped and let them sit on the counter while the smoker is heating up. It's good for those ribs to kind of sweat and let the rub really just sit on the meat for a little bit. Right now, we are getting close to 300, but we're not quite there. So I'm just gonna let the ribs sit out. I'm gonna go crack a cold Diet Coke and I will meet you guys back out at the smoker in just a little bit. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed your drink as much as I enjoyed mine, but this smoker is ready for our ribs. Look how pretty these are. Oh, so pretty. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to put them right here on the second shelf. My water pan has got water in it, and I am going to close these doors and let these ribs smoke. So now that your ribs are on the smoker, you're going to want to spritz them every 30 minutes for an hour and a half. I'm going to spritz them with apple juice, which is what I would recommend, but if you don't have apple juice, sometimes I've just not had anything in the house. I just use water. I would recommend at least using water to give them some moisture. You could use something like Dr. Pepper, Coke, just kind of something with some sugar content to it. So I am headed back inside. I'm gonna get out of this cold weather and I will see you back here at the smoker in 30 minutes. All right, our first 30 minutes has gone by, so it's time to spritz. So truthfully, my kids just drink all of the apple juice. Don't they know I'm trying to do a production here? So I am actually using cherry Coke. I'm just gonna spritz the ribs here. Close these doors and we'll be back in another 30 minutes. 30 minutes goes by quick when you're cooking ribs. Let's give another spritz here. Remember, I'm just using cherry Coke. I don't have a fancy spray bottle or anything. That's it. Okay, close these doors up and we'll be back in another 30. We are going to get our foil prepped so that we can put our ribs right on it. I have doubled up my foil here, and I am just going to put down some honey. So we're just gonna squeeze honey right onto our foil. Some brown sugar. I'm going a little light on the honey and brown sugar, but if you want to load it up, do you. We're going to put some on this side and then also on the bone side of the ribs. And then I'm doing 2 pads of butter for the top and bottom. You can also do more on that. I've cut back. All right, so now let's go grab our ribs. So at this point, it would be time to spritz, but instead of spritzing, we're actually going to take them out and put them in the foil. So here's how they look at the hour and a half mark, and I'm just going to spritz the top here. Oh man, they smell so good. And now we're going to take them off and put them in our foil. All right, so I've just got a glove here. I'm just gonna grab them. Like that. Lay them meat side down right there on our prepared foil. Okay, so now your bone side is up and we're going to do the exact same thing that we did on the foil. So get your honey and just put a little honey right onto your ribs. The rest of our brown sugar and our butter. So when you wrap your ribs, you want to make sure that you wrap them nice and tight. So now that I've kind of got it wrapped up, I'm going to put in some of my cherry Coke. I'm just going to pour a little bit right in here into the foil. Just a little bit, maybe I would guess like 2 tablespoons if you want a measurement. And I'm going to do one more piece of foil because it's not quite covering it. Okay, so we've got those wrapped nice and tight. Again, so remember, this is your bone side. When you put it on your smoker, you're gonna flip it and put it back on there this way. Let's get our ribs back on the smoker. Putting them in meat side up. And so you do not have to wrap your ribs. Most times I actually don't wrap mine at all. I just let it smoke the whole time. Today I was just in the mood to take that extra step. But if you don't want to wrap your ribs, you're just going to let them keep smoking at 300 degrees. Just keep spritzing every 30 minutes for about 2.5 to 3 hours. And I'm going to show you how you know your ribs are done here in just a little bit. But I just wanted to let you know that you don't have to take that step of wrapping your ribs if you don't want to. Even on the hot and fast method, you don't have to wrap. They will still cook and just come out just fine if you don't wrap. So since we did wrap our ribs, we aren't going to do anything else with these ribs for 1 hour. We're just going to let them sit in here and smoke at 300. So I will see you guys back in 1 hour. It's almost time for the Steelers game, and that's perfect timing because these ribs are ready to come off the smoker. Remember, we have these ribs wrapped right now, so I am going to take them out of the foil and I'm going to sauce them with my barbecue sauce, and then I'm going to put them back on the smoker just to kind of let that sauce set up and get heated through. But if you're not interested in having sauce on your ribs, at this point you're going to see if your ribs are finished cooking, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that next. There are 2 ways you can see if your ribs are ready. One is taking the temperature. For ribs, you want to get them around at least 190 up to 203. I would say between 200 and 203 is that good sweet spot. So let's go ahead and check the temperature now. I'm just going to poke right here through the foil. You don't want to be too close to a bone because it's going to read higher. So you can see right here we're at 203. That means they are perfect and they are ready to be taken off. Let's grab these ribs. Oh, I'm spilling juices here. Yikes. I'm gonna bring them over to my table. All right, it is time to get these ribs out of the foil. What? These look amazing. At this point, I am going to sprinkle on a little more of our rub. And then I am going to put them on the smoker now, and then we will sauce them. Do you see how these ribs are nice and bendy? That's another way you can see if they are done. But I already took the internal temperature, so I know that they are. Okay, I'm gonna put them right back on the rack. Now we're gonna sauce them. For sauce, I am using the Bear Smoke Sticky Sweet. I'm just going to pour this right on. It's going to be a little messy. You could do this differently, but and just kind of get that spread around. All right, they are sauced and ready to go back in. We're going to close and we're going to let it smoke for about another 15 minutes. Okay guys, it's been 15 minutes. That sauce has had a chance to sit on those ribs and warm up and kind of tack up a bit. I'm going to get these off and we'll slice into them. Let's get these ribs cut. What I like to do is just flip them over so you can see the bones. I'm just gonna cut right here. Ooh, cut real nice. I can tell it's super tender. I'm gonna cut out a couple. Nice, I can't wait. I just know this is gonna help the Steelers win. We need anything we can get at this point. All right, great looking ribs. All right guys, here are our finished ribs. So overall, that cook took 3 hours, about 3 hours and 15 minutes once we got the sauce put on and put back in the smoker. So that is a super easy way to get ribs quicker than the traditional way, and they're still going to taste delicious. Let's give one a try. This one looks like I need to eat it. And I need one more bite. Oh. I just have to make sure my work is perfect. And it is. One thing I wanted to note before I let you go is that these are more of a bite off the bone rib. You can kind of see that I had to bite through the meat, which is how I prefer my ribs to be. I'm not a big fan of fall off the bone. And so if you do it this method, it is going to be bite off the bone, which for me is perfect. So to be able to get the ribs that I want in only 3 hours, it's tough to beat that, especially on a cold day in Utah. I hope you guys will give this method a try. Let me know of what you think of hot and fast ribs down in the comments. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I truly appreciate the support. Please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that bell so you're notified of all future videos. You guys have a great night. I'm gonna go watch the Steelers win. I hope that ages well. Crossing my fingers. All right, guys, until next time, see ya.